Hi, Megan. How are you?
Hey, Ranjeet, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Great. Happy Saturday.
Wonderful. So
Yeah.
tell
So,
me,
are you
what
ready
we have
for
today?
what's that?
What we are having today?
Yeah, a few more questions for you. So, here we go. Let's get started.
Absolutely.
All right. The first one, I know you frequently advise to not concentrate solely on criteria. Yet, of course, let's understand that the USCIS assesses applications based on specific criteria. Of course, requiring applicants to meet at least three, among other stipulations. So, how should one reconcile that apparent contradiction?
Well, this question pops up several times actually. But let's understand, Megan, that understanding and meeting the EB1A criteria should be an organic extension of your professional journey, marked by excellence and significant contributions that you have achieved in your field of expertise. Achievers who might be eligible for the EB1A category don't typically chase the criteria that we have seen or as check boxes. Instead, your career trajectory should align with the benchmark of the EB1A criteria due to authentic work or high impact work that you have created. Therefore, in my view, a key to successful EB1A petition lies not in molding one's achievement to fit the criteria. It's like this. You don't, for example, when it comes to EB2, the minimum qualification is masters, but you don't do masters because you want to do EB2.
Hmm.
Same thing should be done for EB1A also. It should be, you are doing because you have a passion for doing that work. So therefore, I'm again, kind of at the cost of duplication, saying that the key to successful petition will not be in molding your achievements to fit the criteria, but highlighting the trajectory of your excellence that should naturally aligns with the principle of what EB1A recognition is seeking.
Hmm.
Now, this approach will definitely, eliminate all confusion and allow for a straightforward presentations of one qualification, setting the stage for a petition that truly merits a successful evaluation. Now, you see, this is crucial to understand that meeting EB1A criteria should follow naturally from excelling in your field and making significant contributions. Now, what we have seen that amongst we have had or almost 15 achievers from the program, and even at least 40 to 50 whom I would have met, those achievers focus on being you know being excellent in their field rather than trying to mold their achievements to fit these benchmarks. Now, with this approach, there should not be any confusion whatsoever or any contradiction. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your thorough response. All right, next up, we have a question that says, I'm living in India with no current visa status in the US. If I got my EB1 approved today, could I start working in the US immediately?
Well, the answer could be yes and no both, but currently it is no, because you will have to wait till your priority date becomes current.
Mhm.
So, I mean, however, if you already have a previous green card approved petition approved, it could be EB2, EB3, or something akin to that. One could port that date and possibly, and if that date is current, possibly you can definitely, kind of do that. But alternatively, I may like to suggest that in case you have your petition approved and kind of which is a immigrant petition EB1A, one might like to explore the possibility of an O1 visa if you have some current job offer, because O1 is a job employer based petition. One could definitely kind of do that actually. Uh,
Oh,
we have a guest I think here, so I think we'll just get the guest on the stage. Just a second.
all right, wonderful.
Hi, is that Rahul?
That's right, Ranjeet. I won't put my camera on because it's kind of almost 8 o'clock over here sorry, it's 7 o'clock
No
in the
problem.
evening
Absolutely.
in UK.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's absolutely
but
fine.
yeah, just wanted to hear you guys talking and what the conversation about, because I think Megan, we have a discussion next week. I think Wednesday that we're going to get into full details about what the entire program is, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So tell
Ranjeet,
me. Yeah.
nice meeting you, and Megan, yeah, nice meeting you as well.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
likewise. Any questions for Ranjeet that you can think of, or?
I think just trying to get Ranjit, I'll be honest, right? So I've done a lot of research over the last few years on EB1A, last couple of years, not few years, on EB1A, EB2 NIW, and all that stuff. Spoke to a few attorneys as well, the ones that are famous in the US, and then just wanted to get my head around, how realistic it is to get an EB1A if you're starting from scratch to get that in, over a year's time. Is it really realistic? Or do you think it's going to take more than a year, probably 2 years or so?
Okay. Now let me. I like your question actually. It's though it is very fundamental, but we have had a lot of people coming from various degrees actually. So recently we had a 28-year-old gentleman, kind of a data science expert becoming EB1A ready. I have seen people at the age of 23 they're becoming EB1A. Now please understand, Rahul, that you are relating two things. There are two aspects to it. One is the intensity of the work that you do, and you're talking about a benevolence of time that you are seeking actually. So there are two factors here. So what we have seen is that people who put in the effort. So it is not about time here. It is the benevolence of time and how much intensity of work that you are putting in your own endeavor. So what we have seen, people even $1 million salary may not get EB1A, but somebody with even a fraction of that getting closest to getting that actually. So the difference is, remember one thing: when you don't get EB1A, you get, it's more like a recognition. You have to understand. You first have to showcase yourself as being the top expert in your field. Number one, now that is number one. Number two is that you will continue in the field, and third is that you will benefit from the US will benefit by virtue of your presence. Now, we have seen people, the earliest we got some, almost a 30-year-old gentleman getting it in 4 months. And we have also seen people getting it after 16 months. And some people on an average has been 8 to 12 months on an average. But it is not, these are empirical data, what we are telling you. This does not reflect for each and every individual.
Yeah, I completely understand. So I think based on what you said, right, it all depends on how much effort you're putting in to hit those criteria and deadlines and whatever things is in the program. But I think the question is, for example, common things like, scholarly articles. I mean, first, obviously, you have to understand what criteria you're looking for. But having said that, so things like scholarly articles or research articles, now writing that from scratch, getting it approved into top journals, that by itself is a process and takes somewhere around 6 to 8 months, right? Going through peer review and all that stuff. I was thinking in my head, do you, in the program, would you have access to those journals or contacts within those journals where the process can be expedited? Is there something that works that way?
Okay, first is that you are focusing on a criteria, you're talking criteria which may not be required for you actually. In fact, I did not have any publication or citations or any journals. Let me tell you this. And there are many people in the program, they may not have either actually. So that is, first of all, whether one has to find out the criteria that might resonate based on your expertise and whether they resonate with you. So these are two independent aspects. But yes, answering your question, if it need be, if there is a requirement, you get fully trained how to do it. Our people, whether in terms of any articles or something, people have come in Forbes. We would have at least more than a dozen people who would have been into Forbes. They have been featured in New York Post, or I think name the publication. I think our people would be out there. There are some specific strategies that you would have to follow, and if you follow that, we have seen your success can be manifested for the purpose of your EB1A. I mean, I can tell you only this much at this moment actually.
Okay, but that means you do introduce the aspirants to get in touch with these journals or magazines where we can then start working with them to publish our profiles and everything. Is that the way it's going to work?
No, it is not. I mean, first of all, we don't even know whether you are suitable for that. Second thing is that if you need to do it, we will tell you specific strategies to do that. We are not claiming to have any connections. People come to us and say that, can you help us to make us a TED speaker? We do have we do offer you how to speak. There are sessions on that also. We have had one of the TED coaches actually coming down and kind of training you guys, but that does not mean that you will go and start giving TED talks tomorrow. But how to write, how to do everything, and we have seen successes happening, which I think, I'm sure if you have done other research, I think very few people would have that number of successes also. And we are more keen to help people who are dedicated. There are three metrics. Remember one thing, Rahul. there are three metrics for your success for your EB1A. The first is degree of your expertise. If you have to be an expert. And second is, number two is understanding EB1A jurisprudence. What USCIS is looking for, what is from where this whole EB1A comes, why three criteria, why not 10, why not 4, from where these 10 criteria come. And the last but not the least is learning how to present yourself. So if you understand an interplay between these three dimensions, I think if you have to identify a sweet spot for yourself, that will navigate through you. Don't try to chase something which you are not ready for, or your expertise does not warrant, or what USCIS is not looking, or something which is beyond our reach. So, for example, we have seen people, trying to initially chase, even try to do PhD because they think this is the quickest way of getting EB1A. We have seen that. And I gave you an example of somebody who is a 23-year-old and getting EB1A, somebody who is 28-year-old getting it, and also at the same time, people at the age of 35, 40 earning even $500,000, they are struggling still, actually. So it all depends on your effort and going with the right trail also, actually. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think Meghan, in our discussion on Wednesday, I think might be more clearer if you go into the details of what you have.
Absolutely. We are looking for people who are kind of coachable, who are determined to take a decision, and who are ready to put in the right efforts. That's our evaluation for people, actually. So because 90% of the efforts what people have done in the all EB1A achievers from the program, they have done after they joined the program. While we have to pick up certain stories from their past histories, but that is only a foundation, not the premise on the which EB1A application gets built up in the future. Okay. So wish you all the best, and congratulations for taking a decision for moving forward. Wish you all the best, and God bless you.
All right. Bye. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Rahul.
Yeah. So that was Rahul, and that's wonderful. So if anybody else, it would be interested to be part of the next week program, you are free to kind of reach out to us or click the link below in the comments. We'll be happy to help you out. So wonderful.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Thanks again, Rahul. And our next question is, my sister is a doctor and she's on J1 visa with a 2-year waiver. She has many papers and citations. Can she apply for EB1A, and is there any conflict with her J1 visa?
Well, I think we created with the help of a law firm, we had created a comparison sheet between all the different kind of visas and how they can prepare themselves for the EB1A and how potentially the Next League program can help them. So we shall give you the link below. But nevertheless, if you're inquiring about your sister who is a doctor on a J1 visa, from a technical perspective, absolutely there is no issue. Anybody can apply for EB1A from any part of the world. She may have papers and citations, but those papers and citations may not qualify for EB1A solely. It could be one of the metrics for the success, but not completely. So there are other criterias, and there is something called as totality, there is something called as final merit determination, there is called as sustained acclaim. So one has to follow all the three things put together for the success of EB1A. But answering your questions in a very focused and specific manner, yes, you can definitely apply. Application is not a problem.
Great, thank you. Okay, next up, I also have an Australian, this gentleman says, I have an Australian E3 visa. Would that present any conflict when applying for EB1A?
I mean, as I said, this is not a legal advice, but yeah, I mean, I do not see any challenge with reference to your visa. I mean, one could be on any status inside the USA or outside the USA. Filing I-140 should not be a challenge, actually. I mean, one could do that.
Excellent. Okay. The next question is, I'm a human resources professional with an MBA. Am I eligible for EB1A? And if so, what criteria do you think I should try to meet?
Well, as I said, I think this goes to Meghan's first question, is that should I focus on criteria or should I focus on profile? I would strongly urge you that, you will have to be, if not more, at least in the top 10% of being an HR professional. Incidentally, we had one HR professional from the Next League program who kind of achieved EB1A success also. But there are different metrics. I mean, don't try to fit yourself into the criteria, because please understand, because if you are truly in the top 10% in their field of expertise, you would definitely kind of become showcase yourself as an expert for the purpose of EB1A. But fulfilling those criteria do not necessarily make you an expert. We have seen cases where people fulfilling 3, 4, 5, even as high as 8 criteria getting successful but still not getting EB1A. So I would strongly urge you not to kind of focus on being a criteria centric, I would say that. So that would be kind of my take with reference to this actually.
Great.
So just a second, Meghan, we have a question. I think I'm putting it on the screen.
Perfect.
It's a Pratik who says that I'm a business analyst working on a cloud project. Should I define my field of expertise as business analysis with cloud-enabled digital transformation or cloud-led digital transformation? Pratik, identifying your expertise is not like it's just not a nomenclature or a semantics game with words or playing with words here. You have to understand that what has been your impact factor. So in our program, normally it would take roughly around 15 to 45 days for somebody to identify and sharpen the expertise here actually. So I would simply say that, if you are saying that you are a business analyst, so fundamentally if you're a business analyst, what are the metrics that you feel, or what is the impact of the work that you have done? You have to kind of find a common thread between all the success that you have achieved, and that should be your expertise. It's not about you just playing with words and cloud-led digital transformation or something. One needs to comprehensively analyze your resume, your past work, couple of sessions you have to be participating, and then we can make it. So I would not like to qualify myself to just respond to this question based on what you are, because that's a very, very limited information. I would say that actually. Meghan, we have another question here by Deepak Kulkarni. He's saying, hi, I'm trying to attempt for artistic showcase and exhibition. Here I will be going for a conference and presenting my idea in front of 100 plus people. So what is the evidence that I can collect to prove this EB1A criteria? Thanks in advance. Now that's a good, recently there has been a good attempt for a lot of people to, kind of use this artistic showcase. But remember, you have to understand that there has to be some creative element to the whole thing. It's not something that you can simply, present yourself in a conference and do it. What was the nature of conference? How many participants were there? What did you speak? Did you present a paper? How was the documentation recorded? You have to showcase that you were invited for this particular conference. It was not something you paid to be a speaker or something like this. Audience, photographs, what was thank you notes. I think all these things would constitute an evidence put together actually. So I think they should, congratulations on taking up this criteria. So that's really wonderful. So Meghan, we have one scope for one last question actually before we close the session.
Okay, great. Rohan asks, I've developed an innovative mobile application designed to forecast early disasters. What criteria can I apply to demonstrate the significance of this achievement? Additionally, what specific documentation or achievements should I gather to effectively showcase my exceptional contributions in this field?
I think a very good question. Congratulations on doing something very innovative. In my view, this should go into original contribution. But remember, the significance of this achievement will be manifested by virtue of what has been the impact. By the very nature of creating something it may be an original contribution, but to say that it has been significant, you have to, if you are talking about forecast early disasters, I think what disasters did it, actually put forward actually that you will have to was safeguarded because of your service or whatever app that you made will have to be created, which needs to be documented. So was this kind of an attempt that you did was reported in some newspaper, was in scientific journal, whether you can get some expert opinions on that. Let me give you an example of somebody whom I met a couple of years back, and the person had got EB1A based on this creation of an app actually. The person did create an app, and it was may not be as evolved as possibly what you have speaking about, Rohan, but it was about basically just saving parking spaces. So in a cluster of area, how much was the fuel saved, how much was the carbon emission that was saved, how many people saved time. That all was duly recorded in the app actually, which otherwise it would take how much time kind of if that app was not to be utilized. So something like this will have to be produced and something like that will have to be created. So that would be my kind of conjecture here.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
it.
great.
From
Wonderful. Thanks, Ranjeet. I appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions.
wonderful.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Absolutely. And friends, if you want to join in, like we had a lot of friends coming down today, please let us know in advance. You can get in touch with Meghan or I, or you can just write it in the comment section. And if you're interested to join the next week program, please click the link below. We'll be happy to help you up. And thank you very much and have a wonderful day, friends. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.